The streets of Miami glowed under colorful neon lights. It was Friday night. Luxury sports cars filled the roads. Influencers were live streaming, TikTok creators were filming content, and every cafe buzzed with young people chasing followers, fame, and luxury. 24-year-old Sophia Miller adjusted her leather jacket before climbing onto the back of her boyfriend's matte black Ducati. Her boyfriend, Ethan Knight, was everything girls dreamed of: handsome, confident, funny, and wildly successful. He had millions of followers across social media, owned a fast-growing tech startup, and everyone believed he was the perfect boyfriend. Sophia wrapped her arms around him. "Ready?" Ethan smiled. "Always." The Ducati roared through the city as Sophia left, recording the ride for her Instagram story. Within minutes, thousands of people were watching. Comments flooded in. Couple goals, red heart. You two are perfect. Relationship of the year. Sophia smiled. Life had never felt more beautiful. She had no idea this would be the last happy night of her life. The next morning, Ethan's phone exploded with notifications. His startup had just received a $200 million investment offer from one of America's biggest venture capital firms. But there was one condition. The investors wanted Ethan to become the public face of the company. No scandals. No controversy. No distractions. Just hours later, Ethan received another phone call. It wasn't from an investor. It was from his wealthy father. "Ethan, come home." Now, inside the Knight family's luxurious penthouse, Ethan found his parents waiting. His father placed an iPad on the table. It displayed Sophia's Instagram profile. Followers, 42,000. Occupation, fashion content creator. Middle-class family. No powerful connections. His father looked directly at him. "You're ending this relationship." Ethan frowned. "What?" "You heard me. I love her." His father laughed. "Love doesn't build, Bill. $1 companies." He slid another file across the table. Inside were photos of Olivia Harrison, daughter of one of the richest business families in California. "If you marry Olivia, our companies merge. If you stay with Sophia, you lose everything." Meanwhile, Sophia knew nothing about the meeting. She spent the afternoon shopping with her best friend, Emma, filming brand collaborations and laughing over coffee. Her phone rang. It was Ethan. "I need to see you." His voice sounded strange. Cold. Almost emotionless. That evening they met on the rooftop where they had shared their first kiss. Sophia smiled as she walked toward him. But Ethan didn't smile back. Without saying a word, he handed her a small box. Inside was the promise ring he had given her a year earlier. Sophia looked up, confused. "What is this?" Ethan avoided her eyes. "We're done." She laughed nervously. "Stop joking. I'm serious." "Why?" "I've outgrown this relationship." Those words hit harder than anything she'd ever heard. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "So, everything we planned? Our future? Our dreams?" Ethan stayed silent. Finally he said, "I need someone who fits my future." Sophia felt her entire world collapse. She removed the necklace Ethan had gifted her on their anniversary and placed it in his hand. Without another word, she turned around and walked away. She cried the entire way home. She didn't know that hidden behind a nearby advertising billboard, a paparazzi photographer had secretly recorded the entire breakup. The next morning, the video went viral. Millions of people mocked Sophia. She got dumped because she wasn't good enough. Another gold digger exposed. Brands canceled their sponsorships. Followers unfollowed her. Friends disappeared. Within 48 hours, Sophia lost everything. Standing alone in her apartment, she looked at the viral comments one last time. Then she quietly whispered, "You didn't just break my heart, Ethan. You started a war." Sophia didn't leave her apartment for 3 days. Her phone buzzed nonstop. At first, she thought Ethan was calling to apologize. Instead, it was hate. Thousands of comments flooded her social media. She was using him for money. Another influencer exposed. She thought she could marry a billionaire. The breakup video had crossed 50 million views. Every gossip page reposted it. TikTok creators reacted to it. YouTubers made videos analyzing her facial expressions. Memes of her crying spread everywhere. Sophia wasn't just heartbroken. She had become the internet's favorite joke. Her manager called. "Sophia, I'm really sorry. What happened? 3 brands canceled your contracts." "What?" "They don't want negative publicity." Within 10 minutes, 2 more emails arrived. Partnership terminated. Campaign canceled. Her monthly income disappear. Ed in a single afternoon. Sophia stared silently at the screen. Everything she had built over 3 years was gone. Meanwhile, Ethan's life looked perfect. His engagement with Olivia Harrison was officially announced. Photos of the glamorous couple covered social media. Luxury vacations, designer outfits, private jets. The internet called them America's power couple. But behind every smile, Ethan felt guilty. Every night, he replayed Sophia's tearful face in his mind. He wanted to call her. He wanted to explain. But his father had made one thing clear. "If you contact Sophia again, your company is finished." Ethan chose silence. It was the biggest mistake of his life. One evening, Sophia decided to clear her mind. She wore a hoodie, covered her face with a mask, and went for a walk near the beach. As she sat alone watching the waves, someone approached. "Mind if I sit here?" She looked up. A man in his late 20s stood there wearing jeans, sneakers, and a simple black t-shirt. No designer logos. No security. No attitude. "My name's Ryan." Sophia nodded politely. "I'm Sophia." "I know." She sighed. "Everyone does." Ryan smiled. "I didn't come because of the viral video. I came because I watched one of your old charity vlogs." Sophia looked surprised. "You actually watched those? You helped a homeless woman find a job. You paid for a little girl's school supplies. You never filmed those moments for attention. For me, that tells me who you really are." For the first time in weeks, someone saw her, not the headlines. Over the next few days, Ryan and Sophia kept meeting. Sometimes for a coffee. Sometimes for long walks. Sometimes just talking. Ryan never asked about Ethan. He never mentioned the breakup. He simply listened. Sophia slowly began smiling again. What she didn't know was that Ryan wasn't an ordinary guy. His full name was Ryan Blackwood, founder and CEO of Blackwood Media Group, the largest digital media company in America. Unlike Ethan, Ryan had built his empire from scratch. No family money, no inheritance, only hard work. He kept his identity secret because he wanted people to know him, not his wealth. One afternoon, Ryan asked casually, "If someone destroyed your life, what would you do?" Sophia looked at the ocean. "I wouldn't destroy them." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "I'd become so successful that one day they'd regret losing me." Ryan smiled. "That's real revenge." At that moment, he made a decision. He wasn't just going to help Sophia recover. He was going to help her become untouchable. Across the city, Ethan accidentally saw a paparazzi photo. Sophia was sitting at a cafe, laughing with Ryan. For the first time since the breakup, she looked genuinely happy. Something twisted inside Ethan's chest. Jealousy. Regret. Fear. He whispered to himself. "Who is that guy?" His assistant immediately began investigating. By the next morning, the report landed on Ethan's desk. As he read the first page, the color drained from his face. Ryan Blackwood. Net worth, $18.7 billion. Owner of the media company capable of making or destroying any public image in America. Ethan slowly lowered the file. He finally realized Sophia wasn't rebuilding her life. She was about to become more powerful than he had ever imagined. 3 weeks passed. Sophia had disappeared from social media. No Instagram posts. No TikTok videos. No live streams. People assumed she had given up. The internet moved on to the next viral drama. But behind the scenes, Sophia was quietly rebuilding herself. Every morning at 6 a.m., Ryan picked her up. No luxury dates. No expensive gifts. Instead, he took her to his company's headquarters. The building had over 50 floors, filled with content creators, filmmakers, marketing experts, and tech developers. Sophia looked around in amazement. I've never seen anything like this. Ryan smiled. Social media isn't just about followers. It's about influence. And influence is built with strategy. For the next few weeks, Ryan personally taught Sophia everything he knew. How algorithms worked. How brands selected influencers. How fake news spread. How public opinion could be manipulated. For the first time, Sophia understood that the internet wasn't controlled by luck. It was controlled by people who knew how to tell powerful stories. One afternoon, Ryan handed her a business proposal. I don't want you to become another influencer. Sophia looked confused. What do you mean? I want you to become a brand. He showed her a presentation. Sophia Miller. Fashion a lifestyle, a women's empowerment. Ryan explained. People followed your beauty before. Now they'll follow your journey. Don't sell perfection. Sell strength. Sophia smiled. I like that. Meanwhile, Ethan's engagement with Olivia looked perfect online. Every post received millions of likes. Luxury vacations. Private jets. Designer events. But the reality was completely different. Olivia cared only about publicity. Every conversation ended with business deals, photo shoots, or brand collaborations. There was no laughter. No late-night conversations. No real love. One evening, Ethan accidentally opened an old photo album on his phone. It was full of pictures with Sophia, eating street tacos, watching sunsets, riding motorcycles, dancing in the rain. Simple moments that had made him happier than all the luxury surrounding him now. For the first time, he realized money had bought success, but it had cost him love. A month later, Ryan called Sophia into his office. I have your first project. She'll. Okayed, excited. What is it? Ryan smiled. Tomorrow night. You're speaking at the biggest digital creators summit in Los Angeles. Sophia froze. There'll be over 10,000 people. I can't. Ryan replied calmly. You already survived millions judging you online. 10,000 people are easy. She laughed nervously. You're impossible. And you're stronger than you think. The next evening, the auditorium was packed. Creators, journalists, entrepreneurs, celebrities. Even Ethan attended because his startup had been invited as a sponsor. He had no idea Sophia would be there. The host stepped onto the stage. Our next speaker almost quit social media after becoming the internet's biggest target. Today, she's here to tell us what she learned. The lights dimmed. Sophia walked onto the stage. The audience fell silent. Ethan looked up. His heart stopped. She looked completely different. Confident. Elegant. Fearless. Sophia took a deep breath and began. 1 month ago, the internet told me my life was over. They called me a gold digger, a failure, a nobody. She paused. They were wrong. The audience listened carefully. I learned something. People can steal your reputation. They can steal your followers. They can even steal your happiness. But they can never steal your decision to stand up again. The entire hall erupted in applause. Even people watching online stood up in admiration. Ethan couldn't take his eyes off her. He whispered, I lost her. After the event ended, Ethan rushed backstage. He finally reached Sophia. Sophia, please. She turned around. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ethan quietly said, I made the biggest mistake of my life. Before Sophia could answer, Ryan walked over and placed his hand gently on her shoulder. He looked at Ethan and said with a calm smile, You're a little late. Then Ryan turned to Sophia. Our jet is ready. As the two of them walked away together, Ethan stood frozen. He finally understood what he had thrown away. But what he didn't know was that someone in the shadows had been watching all three of them. A mysterious man wearing a black hoodie snapped several photos and sent them to an unknown number with a single message. Phase 1 is complete. They're exactly where we want them. The backstage hallway fell silent. Ethan stood there, watching Ryan and Sophia walk away together. He wanted to run after her, to explain everything, to tell her that he still loved her. But for the first time, Sophia didn't look back. She entered Ryan's private jet, and within minutes, It disappeared into the night sky. Ethan whispered to himself, I lost the only person who ever loved me without my money. The next morning, every major news channel was talking about Sophia's speech. From viral breakup to viral inspiration. Sophia Miller's comeback. Speech breaks the internet. The video crossed 80 million views in 24 hours. Comments that once mocked her had completely changed. She deserves better. Ethan lost a queen. This is the best comeback ever. Brands that had abandoned her suddenly wanted her back. Luxury fashion labels. Fitness companies. Beauty brands. Movie producers. Everyone wanted Sophia Miller. Ryan entered his office carrying a thick folder. He placed it on Sophia's desk. Congratulations. She smiled. What is this? Your future. Inside were partnership offers worth over $12 million. Sophia stared at the papers in disbelief. A month ago, nobody wanted to work with me. Ryan smiled. People don't follow victims. They follow fighters. Meanwhile, Ethan's company was facing serious trouble. The investment deal everyone celebrated was falling apart. Sales were dropping. Customers had started criticizing the brand after Sophia's speech. Hashtags like #JusticeForSophia and #BoycottNightTech began trending. His investors called an emergency meeting. One investor looked directly at Ethan. Your personal image is damaging the company. We need a solution. Ethan lowered his head. For the first time, the decision he made to save his business was destroying it. That evening, Ethan drove to Sophia's apartment. He waited outside for hours. Finally, she arrived. She stepped out of her car and calmly looked at him. You've been waiting? 3 hours. Sophia sighed. Ethan, it's over. He shook his head. I was forced. My father threatened me. I never stopped loving you. Sophia remained silent. Then she asked one simple question. When millions of people insulted me online, did you defend me? Ethan couldn't answer. When brands canceled my contracts, did you call me? Silence. When I cried myself to sleep every night, where were you? Tears filled Ethan's eyes. I'm sorry. Sophia nodded. I believe you're sorry, but sorry doesn't erase pain. She turned to leave. Before entering the building, she looked back one last time. You didn't lose me the day we broke up. You lost me every day you chose silence. The apartment door closed. Ethan stood alone. For the first time in his life, he understood what real regret felt like. Across the city, Ryan was reviewing security footage inside his office. One of his employees entered quickly. Sir, we've identified the man who was secretly photographing you and Sophia. Ryan looked up. Who sent him? The employee handed him a confidential file. Ryan opened it. His expression changed instantly. The file contained the logo of Harrison Global, Olivia Harrison's family company. Ryan whispered. So this wasn't just about Ethan. They've been planning something much bigger. He turned to his head of security. Increase Sophia's security immediately. I have a feeling the real war hasn't even started. At that exact moment, Sophia's phone buzzed. An unknown number had sent her a single photo. It showed Ryan entering her apartment building earlier that evening. Below it was one chilling message. Stay away from Ryan, or the next viral video will destroy him instead of you. Sophia's hands began to tremble. Someone wasn't trying to ruin her anymore. No, they were targeting the people she cared about. Sophia stared at the anonymous message. Stay away from Ryan, or the next viral video will destroy him instead of you. Her heartbeat quickened. This wasn't just online hate anymore. Someone was watching her every move. She immediately called Ryan. Ryan, we need to talk. 30 minutes later, Sophia arrived at Ryan's penthouse. Ryan's head of security, Daniel Cruz, was already waiting. Daniel placed several photographs on the table. They've been following you for almost 3 weeks. Sophia looked at the pictures. One showed her leaving a coffee shop. Another showed her entering a gym. One even captured her visiting her mother's grave. She felt a chill run down her spine. They know everything. Ryan nodded. And now we're going to find out who they are. Daniel connected a laptop to the big screen. After tracing the anonymous number and analyzing security footage, one name appeared: Marcus Harrison, Olivia Harrison's older brother, vice president of Harrison Global. Known for dirty business tactics, bribing journalists, and running fake social media campaigns against competitors. Ryan leaned back. So, Ethan wasn't the mastermind. Daniel shook his head. No. Marcus wanted Ethan to marry Olivia, because merging the two companies would create the biggest tech empire in the country. Sophia finally understood. The breakup, the viral hate, the fake news. It was all planned? Daniel nodded. They destroyed your reputation to make sure Ethan would never come back to you. Sophia clenched her fists. For weeks she had blamed fate. Now she knew the truth. Someone had destroyed her life on purpose. Ryan looked at Sophia. You have two choices. We can expose them today. Or, we can make them destroy themselves. Sophia stayed silent for a long moment. Then a small smile appeared. They wanted the whole world to watch me fall. She looked directly at Ryan. So let's make the whole world watch them fall. Ryan smiled. Now you're thinking like a strategist. The next morning, Ryan's media team secretly launched Operation Mirror. Instead of attacking Marcus or Olivia directly, they started investigating every company connected to Harrison Global. Every contract, every investor, every hidden payment, every leaked email. Within days, they discovered something shocking. Millions of dollars had been paid to fake influencer agencies that specialized in spreading online hate campaigns. The same agencies that had act Sophia. Ryan looked at the evidence. This isn't revenge anymore. This is a criminal case. Meanwhile, Ethan accidentally overheard Olivia talking on the phone. She laughed and said, "Don't worry, Marcus. Sophia will never recover. The internet believes everything we tell it." Ethan froze outside the room. His hands started shaking. He quietly recorded the entire conversation on his phone. For the first time, he realized Sophia had been innocent all along. His guilt turned into anger. That night, he called Sophia. She answered after a long pause. "What do you want, Ethan?" "I have proof." "Proof of what?" "Someone destroyed your life. And I think I know who." Sophia's expression changed. She agreed to meet him, but only in a public place. As Ethan drove to the meeting, a black SUV began following him. Inside sat Marcus Harrison's security team. One man spoke into his earpiece. "He has the recording." Marcus's cold voice came through the speaker. "Then don't let him reach Sophia." The SUV accelerated. A black sedan sped through a red light. Ethan looked in his rearview mirror, just as the vehicle rammed into the side of his car. Boom. Glass shattered across the road. People screamed. Cars came to a halt. Ethan's phone flew out of the window and landed on the wet pavement. The screen was still recording. And the final thing it captured was a masked man picking up the phone before disappearing into the darkness. The crash shook the entire intersection. People screamed. Car alarms echoed through the streets. Ethan's sports car spun twice before crashing into a traffic barrier. Smoke filled the air. Within minutes, ambulances and police arrived. Fortunately, Ethan survived. He had suffered a broken arm, several cuts, and a concussion. But one thing was missing. His phone. The phone containing Olivia's confession. Meanwhile, Sophia waited anxiously at the cafe where Ethan had asked to meet her. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 30. Finally, a news alert appeared on the TV mounted inside the cafe. Tech CEO Ethan Knight injured in high-speed crash. Sophia's heart skipped a beat. Without thinking, she rushed to the hospital. Ryan arrived moments later. Seeing Sophia worried about Ethan, he quietly said, "You still care about him." Sophia looked away. "I don't love him anymore. But I don't want anyone to die because of me." Ryan nodded with respect. "That's why you're different." Inside the hospital, Ethan slowly regained consciousness. The first person he saw was Sophia. He smiled weakly. "You came." Sophia crossed her arms. "Don't misunderstand. I came because I wanted answers." Ethan closed his eyes. "They know about the recording. It wasn't an accident." Sophia looked at Ryan. Ryan's expression became serious. The crash had been planned. At the same time, Marcus Harrison sat in his private office, watching the news with a satisfied smile. His assistant entered. "Sir, we recovered Ethan's phone." Marcus extended his hand. The assistant placed the damaged phone on the desk. Marcus smashed it with a hammer. "No evidence. No problem." He smiled. "Now let's finish Sophia's reputation once and for all." The next morning, every social media platform exploded again. A fake video began trending. Using AI-generated voice and edited clips, it appeared as if Sophia was secretly dating Ryan only for money. Within hours, millions believed it. #GoldDiggerAgain started trending worldwide. Journalists surrounded Ryan's headquarters. Sponsors began asking questions. Even Ryan's board members demanded an emergency meeting. One director said, "If this scandal continues, our stock price will collapse." Ryan calmly replied, "It's fake." The director answered, "Truth doesn't matter. Public opinion does." Sophia locked herself inside her apartment. The nightmare had returned. She looked at the hateful comments. History was repeating itself. She whispered, "Why does this keep happening?" Just then, Ryan knocked on her door. He wasn't carrying flowers. He wasn't carrying gifts. He carried a laptop. He placed it on the table. "I want to show you something." He opened a folder filled with documents, screenshots, bank transfers, and digital forensics. "My cyber team has been tracking Marcus Harrison for months." Sophia looked confused. "You were investigating him before we even met?" Ryan nodded. "I knew someone was manipulating online narratives. I just didn't know you'd become one of the victims." Then Ryan smiled. "And today, we fight back." That evening, Ryan announced a surprise global live stream across all his media platforms. Over 25 million people joined within minutes. Journalists from around the world tuned in. Marcus laughed while watching. "He's making a mistake." Ryan stepped onto the stage. Behind him stood Sophia. The room fell silent. Ryan looked directly into the camera. "For months, someone has been using fake videos, paid influencers, and AI-generated content to destroy innocent people." He paused. "Tonight, we exposed them." One by one, the giant screen displayed. Bank transfers to troll farms. Contracts with fake influencer agencies. Emails ordering smear campaigns. IP addresses linked to Marcus Harrison's office. Finally, Ryan played security footage from a parking garage. It clearly showed Marcus's men following Ethan just before the crash. The audience gasped. Social media exploded. Comments changed instantly. #Justice for Sophia returned to the top. #Arrest Marcus became the #1 trending topic worldwide. Marcus watched the live stream in disbelief. His hands began shaking. He whispered, "This isn't possible." Just then, the doors to his office burst open. Federal agents walked inside. One officer stepped forward. "Marcus Harrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy, cyber fraud, evidence tampering, and attempted murder." Marcus slowly turned around. Outside the glass windows, dozens of news cameras were already waiting. The same media he had controlled was now broadcasting his downfall live to the entire world. Marcus Harrison's arrest became the biggest news story in America. Every news channel covered it. Every social media platform exploded. The same creators who had mocked Sophia were now apologizing publicly. Millions of people finally learned the truth. She had never been a gold digger. She had been the victim of a carefully planned conspiracy. Within 48 hours, the fake videos were removed. The hate hashtags disappeared. Brands that once rejected Sophia began offering record-breaking endorsement deals. Netflix wanted a documentary. Podcast hosts wanted interviews. Magazines competed for exclusive cover stories. Sophia politely declined every offer. Ryan looked at her and smiled. "You've waited months for this moment. Why say no?" Sophia replied calmly, "I don't want people to remember me as the girl who was betrayed. I want them to remember what I built afterward." Ryan nodded proudly. "That's exactly why you'll never lose again." Meanwhile, Ethan recovered from his injuries and called a press conference. Hundreds of reporters filled the hall. Cameras flashed non-stop. Ethan walked onto the stage with his arms still in a sling. He took a deep breath. I have something to confess. The room fell silent. I failed the person who loved me the most. I stayed silent because I was afraid of losing my company. But my silence destroyed someone else's life. He looked directly into the cameras. Sophia, I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. But the whole world deserves to know. You were innocent from the very beginning. The apology spread across every platform within minutes. Millions praised his honesty. But Sophia never watched the video. She had already moved on. A few weeks later, Ryan invited Sophia to the rooftop of Blackwood Media Tower. The city lights stretched endlessly below them. Ryan handed her a small folder. Sophia opened it. Inside was the ownership agreement for a brand new company, Phoenix Studios. She looked confused. What is this? Ryan smiled. It's yours. Sophia's eyes widened. What? You once said your dream wasn't just to create content. You wanted to create opportunities for people who had none. So I invested. But you'll be the CEO. Sophia stood speechless. Months ago, she couldn't even pay her rent. Now, she owned one of the fastest-growing digital media companies in America. On launch day, Phoenix Studios hired 50 young creators. Many had been rejected by agencies because they weren't famous enough. Sophia personally welcomed every employee. She smiled an S. This company isn't built on followers. It's built on talent. The room erupted in applause. Late that evening, Sophia received one final message from Ethan. I'm leaving the country. I hope one day you find complete happiness. Thank you for teaching me what real love looked like. Sophia read the message. She smiled gently. Then she deleted it. Not out of anger, but because that chapter of her life was finally over. She looked out through the glass walls of her office at the city's skyline. The girl who had once cried alone in a tiny apartment was gone. In her place stood a confident CEO, respected by millions. She whispered to herself. The best revenge wasn't making them suffer. It was becoming someone they could never reach again. Just then, Ryan walked into the office. He smiled. Ready for our next chapter? Sophia smiled back. More than ever. They looked out over the glowing city together, not as victims of the past, but as builders of the future. 6 months later, Phoenix Studios had become one of the fastest-growing digital media companies in America. Sophia was no longer known as the girl who got dumped. Now she was known as the young CEO who gave opportunities to struggling creators and exposed one of the biggest online manipulation scandals in the country. Her story inspired millions. She had everything she once dreamed of. But life had one last surprise waiting for her. One rainy evening, Daniel entered Sophia's office. Someone wants to meet you. Who? Daniel hesitated. Ethan. Sophia remained silent for a few seconds. Send him in. The office door slowly opened. Ethan looked different. No expensive suit. No luxury watch. No bodyguards. Just a simple hoodie and jeans. He looked like a man carrying years of regret. I won't take much of your time, Ethan said quietly. Sophia nodded. What do you want? Ethan placed a brown envelope on the table. I found this while cleaning my father's office. Sophia opened it. Inside were signed contracts, emails, and financial records. They proved Ethan's father had secretly worked with Marcus Harrison from the very beginning. The breakup, the investment deal, the fake scandals. Everything had been planned months before Ethan even knew about it. Sophia looked up. You didn't know? Ethan shook his head. I was just another pawn. He lowered his eyes. I blamed myself every day. But now I know. My own family destroyed both of us. A week later, the evidence was handed over to federal investigators. Within days, Ethan's father resigned as CEO. Several executives were arrested for fraud, market manipulation, and conspiracy. The business empire they had spent decades building collapsed in just a few weeks. Justice had finally arrived. 1 month later, Phoenix Studios hosted its first annual CR Eater Awards. Thousands of guests filled the grand ballroom. Young creators from across the country celebrated stories of resilience, creativity, and second chances. Sophia walked onto the stage. The audience stood and applauded for nearly a minute. She smiled before speaking. A year ago, I thought my life was over. I believed the opinions of strangers. I believed betrayal had broken me. She paused. But today I understand something. Sometimes life removes people from your journey, because they were never meant to reach your destination. The audience erupted in applause. Ryan watched proudly from the front row. After the event, Ryan invited Sophia to the rooftop terrace. The city lights stretched endlessly below. Ryan smiled. Remember the first day we met? Sophia laughed. You asked if you could sit beside me, and you looked like the most ordinary guy in the world. Ryan laughed. I was hoping you'd never find out I was a billionaire. You failed. They both laughed. Ryan then reached into his pocket. He wasn't holding a diamond ring. Instead, he held a small silver key. Sophia looked confused. What's this? Ryan smiled. It's the key to our first international Phoenix Studios office. In London. He looked into her eyes. Ready to build something even bigger? Sophia smiled. Let's do it. They shook hands. Not because a fairy tale had begun, but because two people had chosen to build a future based on trust, respect, and shared dreams. Across the city, Ethan watched the Creator Awards livestream from his small apartment. He smiled as he saw Sophia standing confidently on stage. For the first time, he didn't feel jealousy. He felt peace. He quietly closed his laptop and whispered, "You deserve this happiness all along." He walked toward the window as the lights of the city reflected in the glass. Sometimes, the greatest punishment isn't prison. It's living every day knowing you lost the best thing that ever happened to you. Final message. Revenge isn't always about destroying the people who hurt you. Sometimes, the strongest revenge is becoming so successful, so confident, and so happy that the people who betrayed you become nothing more than a chapter in your past. The end.